My name is Julia Carter. I'm a 39-year-old woman living in a quiet suburb just outside Seattle, Washington. From the outside, everything in my life looked perfect. A lovely home, a steady job as a graphic designer, and a marriage that had lasted 15 years. But inside, I was living in a fog of emptiness, a silence that had grown louder with every passing year. My husband, Daniel, had become a stranger to me. We had once been inseparable. We laughed, dreamed, even cried together in those early years. But slowly, life swallowed us up. His job in finance kept him away, and when he was home, he was emotionally distant. We didn't fight. No, that would have at least meant there was passion. There was just nothing. We were two polite roommates sharing a bed, exchanging pleasantries instead of love. I told myself for years that it was just a phase. That marriages go through dry spells. That being a good wife meant staying loyal, even if your heart felt like it was wilting. But deep down, I knew I needed more: connection, affection, someone to look at me like I mattered again. Then he came back into my life. His name was Evan Parker. He had been my college friend. Well, more like a college crush. We never dated back then, but the energy between us had always been magnetic. He had this charm, the kind that wasn't loud or obvious but quiet and persistent. He made you feel like you were the only person in the room. We reconnected by chance. I was attending a local design conference, and there he was, speaking on stage as the creative director of a marketing firm. I almost didn't recognize him at first. He looked older, more refined, but that smile, it instantly brought back all those butterflies I thought had died long ago. After his talk, I approached him. I expected a quick hello, maybe a handshake. But his face lit up the moment he saw me. "Julia Carter," he said, wide-eyed. "No way. It's really you." We hugged. It felt easy, like time hadn't stolen a thing from us. That night, we had dinner. It was just meant to be a friendly catch-up, but the conversation flowed like warm honey. We talked about our careers, our memories from college, the little things that had happened in our lives. I didn't mention much about Daniel. I wasn't ready to open that door. And Evan didn't pry. But I noticed something in the way he looked at me. Like he saw me, the real me. Not just a woman checking boxes in life, but someone still alive underneath the layers of routine. We exchanged numbers and kept in touch. It started innocent. A few texts, the occasional meme, then longer conversations about books, music, and the what-ifs of life. Evan wasn't married. He had never settled down, said he never found the right person. There was something bittersweet in the way he said it. Like he still believed in love, but wasn't sure where to find it anymore. Weeks passed. Then months. Our connection deepened. We weren't just texting. We were leaning on each other. I'd find myself smiling at my phone, waiting for his message in the morning. And when things got tough at home, when Daniel would forget our anniversary or ignore me for days, it was Evan's words that kept me sane. One rainy Friday evening, Evan invited me to his loft in the city. He said he had cooked dinner and wanted to celebrate a small victory. His firm had landed a big campaign. I hesitated. I knew what it could mean. But I also knew what I felt. I told Daniel I was working late. It wasn't technically a lie. I had taken my laptop with me. But my heart knew better. When I arrived, Evan greeted me with that familiar smile. He was wearing a simple navy sweater and jeans, but he looked warm, safe. "I'm really glad you came," he said, leading me inside. The loft smelled like garlic and rosemary. Music played softly in the background. The whole place felt like an escape from reality. We talked over wine, laughed about the past. And then, somewhere between the laughter and the silences, it happened. He looked at me, really looked at me, and said, "Julia, can I ask you something honest?" I nodded. "Are you happy?" My throat tightened. I wanted to lie. I wanted to say yes, that everything was fine, that I was just tired, just stressed, just... "No," I whispered. "I haven't been happy in a long time." Evan didn't say anything. He just reached out and gently held my hand across the table. His touch wasn't rushed. It was careful. Considerate. You deserve to be, he said. I felt my heart flutter in a way I hadn't in years. The ache of being unseen, untouched, unloved, it all poured out at once. I didn't plan what happened next. I didn't script the moment. But I stood up. So did he. And when our lips met, it felt like breathing after years underwater. We didn't rush. We didn't tear clothes or knock over furniture like in the movies. No, it was softer. Slower. More emotional than physical. It was the kind of moment where time slows down, and every breath feels like poetry. Afterwards, I sat in silence, wrapped in his arms, staring at the ceiling. Guilt sat beside me, whispering. But so did something else, relief. Because for the first time in years, I had felt alive. I'm sorry, I said quietly. Don't be, Evan replied. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a truth you've been hiding from yourself. I didn't sleep that night. I drove home with shaking hands. Daniel was already asleep when I got in. I looked at him. This man I had once loved deeply. And I realized the saddest part wasn't what I had done. It was that I hadn't even thought about him until that moment. The next morning, I told him. Everything. He was quiet. Too quiet. Then he said, I've known something was wrong for a long time. I just didn't want to admit it. There were no shouting matches. No flying plates. Just a slow unraveling of what we both knew was broken. Daniel and I decided to separate. It wasn't because of Evan, it was because of years of silent pain. We both deserved more than what we had become. As for Evan, he never pushed me. Never asked for more than I was ready to give. But he was there. Every step of the way. It's been over a year now. I'm not here to tell you everything worked out like a fairy tale. Life is still messy. Love is still complicated. But I'm learning to choose myself. To not bury my desires just to keep the peace. Sometimes, one moment, one night, can wake you up. Not because it's perfect, but because it's honest. And I've learned that honesty, even when it hurts, is better than living half asleep. I couldn't hold back my desire. And maybe that's when I finally started living.